Hello everyone. Normally I show you appliances on my channel that beat, sweep and clean. This Kenwood mixer does not sweep or clean, but it does beat. This is a vintage machine, well, vintage-ish. It's from 1990. According to my research, I first found this in the Argos Spring Summer Catalogue 1990. And if you wanted to buy this in 1990, it would cost you £19.25. I paid $15.99 delivered from eBay for this last week. So I think I got a bargain because this is new and unused. It's a 3-speed mixer with bowl and stand. The seller said it was from the 80s and also said it had a glass bowl. Two things that I found out were not true, but for £16 I'm quite happy to have this vintage Kenwood made in Britain as well. You can't get well, you can buy a Chinese made hand mixer for around £15 I expect nowadays, but I doubt you'll get one with a bowl and stand. So let's open up this Kenwood. And the first thing we see is the instruction book. So it's model A385, A386. I think 85 possibly denotes the mixer without the bowl and stand. This used to be called Chefette. In fact, you can still buy a Kenwood Chefette nowadays, but of course it's made in China. So I've got all the paperwork with this. Authorised small appliance repairs. Do people get small appliances repaired nowadays? Normally it's too expensive to repair them, you just buy new. But this machine you could have repaired, I suppose. Welcome to the Kenwood Powermix 175. And there's all the pictures and some recipes as well. I will be making a cake in this video. So this is from Kenwood Limited, New Lane, Havant, Hants. Now one thing I do notice about this machine, and we'll take out the mixer first, there's no plug. And that was the norm back in the day. I think it was about 1992 when plugs were fitted to appliances. It's got a bit of storage wear actually, now I can see it in the light, but it does seem unused. There's a bit of sort of grease. That's the trouble with these older appliances. This will have some gears in it that will have been greased, and that grease may have gone hard after all these years of not being used. So it'll be interesting to see if this actually works, but of course I need to find a plug and fit the plug. As I said, I think it was about 1992 when regulations came into force that small appliances, well even larger appliances, had to have a fitted plug. It's unbelievable to some people that when you bought an appliance back in the day, you also had to buy a plug and you were expected to fit it yourself. And I fitted many plugs when I worked in Curry's for sweet old ladies that wanted a new iron or a mix or whatever, and they didn't have the wherewithal to fit a plug themselves. No husband to do it for them. That's come off easily. Yeah, it's got a sticky residue, I'll wipe that off. So it tells you how to wire a plug. But from my experience of opening older appliances with plugs fitted, a lot of people didn't wire them correctly. I fitted a plug to this Kenwood mixer, although it's a bit modern for this era. I just want to see if this mixer actually works. And it's got a 13 amp fuse. I should really have a 3 amp fuse for this mixer, but for the purpose of this demo I'll leave the 13 amp in, but I will change it for the correct 3 amp fuse. So we've got the neutral and the live wires wired up, and the outer insulation of the cable is under the cord clamp as it should be. So I just need to secure the top and screw that up, and we can plug in and see if this 1990 Kenwood mixer actually works. Okay, here goes. We'll switch it on to the low speed to start with. Yep, seems to work fine. Might need a little bit of running in until the grease in there that I can see has softened up. Let's take a look at the rating sticker. This is model A385. The serial number is 0297065, 220 to 240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz, 175 watts. It's double insulated, made in Britain. There is a growing movement of people who want to buy goods made in their home countries. So whether you live in the UK or America or wherever, it's nice to find an appliance that's made in the country you live. And back in the 80s and 90s and before then, it was easy to buy a food mixer made in Britain, or television, vacuum cleaner, toaster, all sorts of things were made in Britain. But now, of course, if you want to get a hand mixer, if you look on the back of it, it'll say made in China. So the only way around it is to buy vintage appliances, and especially if you can find new in box appliances, even better, because I think that's going to be better than a Chinese made food mixer, in my opinion. So let's see what else we get in the box. Of course, we need the beaters, and I'll be giving these a bit of a wash before I actually use this. So we'll just put the beaters in. Doesn't come with dough hooks, I don't think, this, but you could probably buy them as an optional extra. So there we go. And the other thing in the box, if I can get it out, should be the bowl and stand. There we go. So, there we are. And when this was in the shops, Kenwood obviously did other things. In the 80s, food processors were becoming popular. So Kenwood made their own line of food processors, and of course the Kenwood Chef, which a lot of people will be familiar with. And I'm sure the Kenwood Chef at this time was still made in the UK. So we have a plastic or acrylic bowl with some sales points on. This is the Powermix A386, powerful 105 watt 3-speed motor, complete with stand and bowl, rotating bowl for perfect mixing, stainless steel beaters, beater ejection with safety interlock, can be used as a hand mixer, left or right hand speed controls, comprehensive recipe and instruction book. So yes, this is a hand mixer you can use like this in your own bowl, but to save all that strain on your wrists, you can pop it on this stand here. So I'm assuming you just have to clip it into position. Is that on? I'm not sure. There's a release button as well, I think. Yes, so you need to press that to release. It's a bit squeaky. I'm assuming though it should have some rubber feet or something on the base. Let's just take the mixer off and have a look. Oh no, there isn't. There's no, you'd think they'd put some nice rubber feet on the base of here. It's yeah, it's just hard plastic. But at least it's British hard plastic, you know? So back goes the bowl. On goes the mixer. So now I can make my lovely fairy cakes without any strain on my wrists whatsoever. So if we turn on, the beater should rotate, and hopefully the bowl should rotate as well. Well, not very effectively, but I think once the ingredients are in, the bowl will move. Now it's not like some models. I remember the Chefette that Kenwood made. I'm pretty sure that had a gear-driven mechanism, so the bowl would rotate with the speed of the motor. It would, you know, it would engage with a part of the mixer. But this one, although the bowl rotates, it doesn't rotate using any sort of gear mechanism. So I think the best way to demonstrate hopefully the bowl rotating and the mixer in action is to make myself a lovely Madeira cake. For speed, I'm going to cheat in this video by using a cake mix, and with this mix I can make a 2-pound loaf sized cake or individual buns or a round sort of Victoria sponge if I want to, but I'm just going to use my 2-pound baking tin. I've greased and lined the base, and now I need to add the ingredients. I need to add some water and oil, but I don't like using seed oils. If you research seed oils, they're not very good for you. They're not what they're cracked up to be. We're all told have sunflower oil, high in polyunsaturates and all that, but it turns out that seed oil is very bad for our bodies, and we should be using more natural fats and oils such as butter, believe it or not. So instead of the oil, I'm replacing that with the same quantity of melted butter, and it really does give this cake a nice buttery flavour. So I'm going to put the oil and the water in the bowl, which I've just washed, and then add the cake mix. You'll notice that I've put the mixer on an anti-slip mat, so it should be a bit more stable when mixing. So into the mixing bowl I've got 200 ml of water and 4 tablespoons of oil or melted butter, and then I'm just going to add the whole packet of this Madeira cake mix, 500 gram, into the bowl, and I'm preheating my oven, which I can't remember the temperature. You need to preheat your oven to 160 to 180 degrees or gas mark 4. So I've put it at 170 degrees, I found sort of midway, and I'll give you the timings. But of course, if you're making this yourself, you'll need this Madeira cake mix, and all the details of how to make it are on the packet. So there we go. That's all the dry ingredients mixed in with the liquid. We'll put the bowl on. I'm going to start off obviously on a slow speed just until everything's combined, and then I'll increase the speed just to really give it a thorough mixing. Going to have to help it along. Obviously the bowl isn't rotating on its own. I'm just going to give the mixer a hand by using my Kenwood spatula just to make sure that all the dry ingredients, it's done a fairly good job though actually. There was one large clump of dry ingredients that seems to have been incorporated. Well actually I don't think I need the spatula, but just to make sure, we'll just put it on for another few seconds on maximum speed, and it'll be ready then to pour into my loaf tin. Right, there we go. Let's see if I can get the ingredients in my tin without spilling it everywhere. I'll just get as much of the mix off the beaters. I won't be licking these beaters. It's not quite as nice as licking the beaters of a cake you've made with all your own ingredients, your own eggs and flour and butter, etc. Right, I think that'll do. Let's eject the beaters. Still a little bit I can get off there. I'll do that off camera. Make sure I get every last bit of ingredients of the mixture into the bowl and into the loaf tin. So I'm using my spatula. I'll get every bit I can into the loaf tin, and then we'll pop it in the oven and then when it's finished we'll have a look at the result. This is just a plain cake. You can add things to this, and I have added chocolate chips to these cake mixes. I've also split one of these loaves and put jam and buttercream in to make a Victoria sponge loaf, but I'm just having plain Madeira because I like to have plain Madeira sponge with a bit of tinned fruit with some juice poured onto the sponge so it goes nice and soggy, and then some of my Easy Yo yogurt that I make in my Easy Yo yogurt maker. So it makes a nice dessert. Right, that's almost done. I'll get the rest of this in the bowl and then we'll pop it in the oven. The instructions to say to bake for 50 to 60 minutes, so I've set my timer for 50 minutes and then I'll check on the cake when the timer goes off. If it needs another 5 or 10 minutes, I'll return it to the oven. While my cake is cooking, I better clean up, and there's no mention of being able to put the bowl and beaters in a dishwasher, so I suppose I better wash these by hand. Well, it's risen a bit too much in the middle, but the knife has come out clean, so I think we can call that baked. Well, that's about the end of my video on this circa 1990 Kenwood Powermix hand mixer and stand. I think it's mixed in a bit too much air in my loaf. Normally they don't expand like that. First time I record making one of these and it goes wrong, but I'm sure I'll enjoy a lovely piece of this with some fruit and yogurt later on. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions about this Kenwood mixer, please comment below, and I'll see you all very soon for the next video. Bye for now.